So you are convinced that you cannot make tender and fluffy dinner rolls. And not only that, you can't do it in a small batch of 12. Well, I'm going to show you how you can do it. It is very easy, and this is so much better than the processed food stuff you get at the store. And of course, you also do this in one bowl. You're going to mix it in this, and you're also going to do your risings in this. So the first thing we need is a half cup of water that is somewhere between, I do 101 to 106. And the only way I'm going to be able to tell that that is accurate is if I actually get a thermometer. So the first thing we're going to do is put that right in our bowl. The next thing we have is 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. This is instant yeast. Going to slide that in here. Now you've got to feed your yeast, so we do that with sugar. And I've got 3 tablespoons. So we got a little frothing action on our yeast. Now we're going to add a half cup of room temperature milk. So I make a half cup, like an hour and a half before I'm going to make this. And to this, we're going to add, let me see how much salt. It's a teaspoon of salt. So let's get this in here. The next thing is a 1/4 cup cooking oil. If you're not great at baking or don't love it, if you get all your ingredients together before you start, it makes it easier not to forget something. And I always follow a recipe. So we're going to incorporate our flour in here, not going to just dump it. And how much flour do I have? I'll write this in the description. 2 1/2 cups. We want to get this flour wet. This is a little Danish whisk. As most of you know, I don't use a mixer. I have not. So this little Danish whisk really helps me, whether I'm making cinnamon rolls, bread, or whatever. But I am a hand mixer. Who I am. And this gives me much less things to clean. Okay? So we have got this here. It is time to pour out our mixture onto our counter. And of course, we're going to put some flour down. Do not panic. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, this looks awfully wet. It's going to be fine. Slide it right out of here. And this is my bread making bowl because I love it so hard. With my Danish whisk. Now, we're going to take our bench scraper. So at first, I use my Norpro dough scraper to fold this over and pull that flour from the bottom. Now we're able to start kneading it by hand, and I love hand kneading dough. Very easy to do. I'm going to pull it towards me, push it away with this part of my hand. Turn it, do it again. We want to get the air out of it. It's just the most relaxing, zen thing to do. And as you need to, use your dough scraper again and pull it in. So I'm going to knead this about 8 to 10 minutes till I'm confident all the air is out of this. Not hard to do. If I can do it, you can do it. So I'm going to carry on with my Zen dough kneading by hand. Why? Because it makes me so happy. Scrape, scrape. Coming together beautifully. And at first you thought when I poured it in wet, oh, this is never going to come together. But look, it has. I'll be back. Our dough ball is ready, no longer sticks to our countertop. So I'm going to oil this bowl, put this ball in, turn it over, make sure I get lots of oil on this, and then it's going to sit in my oven for an hour to double in size. I turn the light on in my oven, and that just makes it just enough heat, not hot certainly. So I've dampened a thin tea towel, and I'm going to lay that over it, put it in my oven with just the oven light on, and set my timer to an hour. It's usually just how long it takes. It ain't hard. We're just making a small batch of yeast dinner rolls. My timer went off. Oh, yes. Look at that. It's alive. It's alive. So all we do now is poke it down. And then we're going to put it back in there to rise for another 30 minutes. So all I'm going to do is set another timer. Let me dampen this, place it back on. No, it's perfect just the way it is. Nice. Easy peasy. All righty, now it is time to pour these out. I'm using a marble cutting board. Nothing fancy. Do not ever order one of these online, as you can imagine, because my FedEx and UPS guys are built like defensive tackles, okay? So I purchased this, I believe, at a Target. It would have been a Target or a Walmart. So all we're going to do is maneuver it a little bit, but look at this thing. It's an entity. Just, again, to get any air out. All right, so let's shape it in some sort of way so we can slice into it with our dough cutter, our dough scraper even. We're going to cut this in half. Spread it out a little bit. Some of these I'll freeze. So all you do is cut you off a little piece. One thing that helps people when they're first starting to form a roll is you can sort of make it like a little pizza in your hand, curl in your corners, your four corners, and it helps you to form a ball. So what I'm going to do is pinch at the bottom of this ball, because this is our roll. And I'm placing it in a buttered, I've got parchment paper just so that can be a sling to remove them. Let's make another one. That's too big. You're too big too. There's nothing wrong with smashing it around in your hand and folding in four corners as you get used to doing this. And I'm putting it the pinched side down, just kind of twist it around. Get me a little smoothness here. Got it. So that's what two look like. These are not touching, but they will be when I take them out. They're going to rise for 45 minutes. Back to you after I have these all done. So not hard. I know you can do it. And it's so much healthier for you than those processed things you buy at the store. I'll be back. So here are my 6 little rolls. I'm going to cover these again with that damp cloth. And for 45 minutes, I'm going to let them rise in my oven. Our timer went off. It was 45 minutes for our final rise. Oh, yeah, look at them. Little puffy puffers. So now, I believe I said 375. These go at 370 for about 15 to 17 minutes. Well, looky, looky. These took 17 minutes, and this is why I like to use the parchment as a sling to easily remove them. Perfect rolls, yeast rolls. So it came out very easily, and I am just brushing. I just microwaved a little small amount of butter with a tiny amount of my island honey, and I'm brushing that over the top. These will be delicious with our roast tonight. You can make your own rolls. This is a fail-proof recipe. As long as your yeast is viable, you can do it. If I could do it, you can do it. Oh yeah, these are hot. I love my Rada, R-A-D-A bread knife. Slides right in between here. Slides right off my parchment paper. Dinner rolls. I'll let one cool and show you what it looks like inside. Yummy. Go the heck with letting it cool. Let's take the small one. Slide our Rada knife right in here. And take a look at what we have done. Oh yeah, light and fluffy. Look at that. Beautiful thing. You can do it. You don't have to use the processed stuff from the store. You can make them at home. Dead easy.